Level 1. The Schoolboy. You are 17. Japan, 1943. You are sitting in a classroom in Kagoshima when your teacher stops mid-sentence. He sets down his chalk. He turns toward the window instead of toward you. Outside, a military truck rolls past the school gate. Nobody in the room speaks. Nobody needs to. You have all heard the word by now. Toko. Special attack. You heard it first 3 months ago from your uncle Hiroshi, who said it the way men say things they don't want to explain. Quietly. Once. And then never again. Your uncle is not here anymore. The teacher turns back. He does not pick up the chalk. He tells you that Japan's finest sons are being asked to consider something. A new kind of mission. A final kind of mission. He does not use the word suicide. Nobody ever uses that word. There is a different word for it, a cleaner one. Gyokusai. Shattering like a jewel. Dying beautifully. For something larger than yourself. You are 17. You don't fully understand what larger than yourself means yet. But you understand the truck outside the gate. You understand your uncle's silence. You understand that the boy, 2 seats to your left, Kenji Mori, from a fishing village outside Nagasaki, has already straightened his back in a way that means something. Your father worked at the Mitsubishi plant in Nagasaki for 11 years. He built parts for the aircraft that flew over the Pacific in 1941. He came home each evening smelling of metal shavings and machine oil, and he ate dinner without talking about what he built or why. He understood something that you were too young to be told. You understand it now. Japan is not winning this war. You know this not from newspapers, which say otherwise, but from the spaces between what people say. From the way the older men at the train station look at departures instead of arrivals. From the ration cuts. From the fact that your school curriculum spent 3 weeks on aircraft recognition this semester and none on literature. The teacher finishes his announcement. He tells you that anyone interested should speak to the administration office. He says there is no pressure. He says it the way people say things that are not true, but must be said anyway. You look at the empty seat where your friend Daisuke sat until February. You stand up. Not because you are not afraid, not because you don't understand what you are walking toward. You stand up because staying seated in this room, in this moment, already feels like a choice you cannot live with. You don't know yet how precise that phrase is. 3 days later, you pass an administration officer a form with your name on it. Your mother packs a small bag for you that evening. She folds each item twice. She does not cry until she thinks you are asleep. You hear her anyway. You say nothing. That silence is the first thing the war takes from you. And what happens next, what they actually do to you, what they make of you, that begins the moment you step off the train at Tsuchura. You said, Gador, Level 2, the Cadet. You are 17. Tsuchura. Naval Air Base is 2 hours north of Tokyo by train. You arrive in November. The platform is cold and smells like diesel and wet concrete. A petty officer is waiting at the gate. He does not introduce himself. He points at a line forming near a truck and says one word. Move. You move. The base holds 200 cadets. You are assigned a bunk, a number, and a uniform that is slightly too large in the shoulders. You are told the shoulders will fit eventually. What they mean is your body will change here, whether you choose it or not. The barracks are wooden. The floor is swept twice daily. You sweep it both times, because the alternative is explained on day 1 through a demonstration that involves everyone dropping to the ground at once. You learn fast. Your senior instructor is Petty Officer Tanaka from Osaka. He is 31 years old and built like something assembled for a specific purpose. He does not learn your name for the first 3 weeks. You are Cadet 114. He uses this number the way a carpenter uses a hammer. Precisely. Without sentiment. The mornings begin at 04:30. You run. You carry. You crawl through mud on a training field that freezes at the edges before sunrise. The physical training is not designed to make you strong. It is designed to find out how you behave when strong is no longer an option. 2 cadets leave in the first week. One of them is 17, the same age as you. You watch him pack his bag. You understand him. You don't move. There are no photographs on the walls of the barracks, no decorations. One scroll above the door with 4 characters: duty, courage, loyalty, purity. You read it every morning on the way out and every evening on the way back. After 2 weeks, it stops being words. It becomes rhythm. That is the point. Tanaka tells you once, without looking at you, that a man who cannot endure boredom cannot endure war. He says it while you are standing at attention in the rain for 40 minutes because someone's uniform button was loose at inspection. You think about that for days. At the end of week 3, Tanaka leads your group to the far edge of the airfield. He stops. He says nothing. He just points. The aircraft are lined up in a row. Still. Silent. Engines cold in the winter air. Nobody speaks. You are not allowed near them yet. You are not allowed to ask questions about them yet. But for the first time since you signed your name on that form, something moves in your chest that is not fear. The next morning, they tell you the aircraft will be ready when you are. And they will decide when that is. Level 3. The student pilot. You are 18. The first time the engine turns over beneath you, the sound is not what you expected. It is not clean. It is not heroic. It is loud and mechanical and slightly irregular, like something alive that hasn't decided yet whether it wants to cooperate. You grip the controls. Your instructor, Flight Petty Officer Iwata, sits behind you in the rear cockpit and says nothing. That is how you know you have not made a mistake. You lift off the runway at Tsuchiura on a gray Tuesday morning in January, and the ground falls away beneath you. And for exactly 4 seconds, you forget what you signed your name for. It is not freedom. It is something cleaner than that. Something with no word attached to it yet. Kenji Mori is in your flight group. You recognize him from the classroom in Kagoshima, though you never spoke there. Here, he is impossible to miss. He laughs every time an engine starts, a full laugh, from somewhere real, which marks him immediately as different from everyone else. The other cadets are serious in the way that frightened people are serious. Kenji Mori is serious in the way that capable people are serious. There is a distance between those two things that most people never cross. He is also, without question, the best pilot in your group. Iwata tells you this not as a compliment, but as a fact he finds mildly inconvenient. Mori lands with a smoothness that makes instructors stop talking mid-sentence. He reads the air the way some men read rooms. He knows before instruments confirm it. One evening in the barracks, Mori tells you something that no instructor will say in any classroom. He says the aircraft doesn't care how afraid you are. He says it only responds to what you do, not what you feel. He says that is either the most terrifying thing about flying or the most freeing thing. He hasn't decided which. You write it down. Your total training hours will reach 40 before they send you forward. You learn this halfway through February, quietly, from a posting on the administration board. 40 hours. The standard for a combat pilot in most air forces is 500. You read the number twice. You do the arithmetic. You understand what the arithmetic means. The war does not have time for 500 hours. It has time for 40. And you. What they do with you after those 40 hours, where they send you, what they ask of you next, is something none of your instructors will say out loud. But Kenji Mori already knows. You can tell by the way he stops laughing when the engine shuts down. Level 4. The pilot. You are 18. By spring of 1944, you have 41 hours in the air and a set of wings sewn onto a uniform that still doesn't fit perfectly in the shoulders. You are a pilot. That word used to mean something specific: speed, skill. The kind of man who comes home with stories. It still means those things, just not in the same order anymore. You were assigned to a training squadron in Kyushu. The aircraft here are older. The Mitsubishi A6M0 was the finest fighter in the Pacific 3 years ago. You know this because your instructors say it in a tense that tells you everything. It was. The Americans have caught up. The Americans have, in several categories, moved ahead. Nobody says this directly. They don't need to. You can see it in the maintenance schedules, in the parts that take 3 weeks to arrive, in the engines that instructors wave off with a look that means fly it anyway. The fuel rations tighten in June. Training flights shorten. You learn to read the sky faster because you have less time inside it. Your squadron leader is Lieutenant Hayashi from Hiroshima. He is 26 and has flown in actual combat over the Philippine Sea. He came back. Fewer than half of his formation did. He does not talk about this. He talks about angle of approach, rate of descent, wind correction over open water. He talks about things that can be controlled. You understand why. Hayashi says once, during a ground briefing, that a superior machine beats a superior pilot 60% of the time. He pauses. He says that means spirit determines the other 40. He says it without drama. He says it like arithmetic. You write it down. You believe half of it. That is more than you believed in January. In August, the news from the Pacific stops being vague. Saipan has fallen. The Mariana Islands are gone. American bombers can now reach the Japanese mainland from captured airstrips. You are told this in a briefing that ends earlier than it should. That evening, a single sheet of paper appears on the administration board. You read it once. You don't walk away. Level 5, the volunteer. You are 18. The paper has 2 boxes on it. That is the first thing you notice. Not the language above them, not the official stamp in the corner, not the name of the unit printed in formal characters across the top. 2 boxes, one for yes, one for no. The form is placed face down on every desk in the briefing room simultaneously, by cadets younger than you, who do not make eye contact while they distribute them. Your commanding officer stands at the front of the room. He tells you this is voluntary. He uses that word carefully, the way men use words they have been instructed to use. He tells you there is no pressure. He tells you the Empire does not demand this. He tells you it asks. You look at the box on your left. Cadet Nomura from Fukuoka has already made his mark. He is not looking at you. He is looking forward, the way people look when a decision is already behind them. You look at the form. You think about the fuel rations, the older aircraft, the briefing that ended too early, the American bombers that can now reach cities your mother lives near. You think about your uncle Hiroshi and the way he said the word once and then never again. You think about Kenji Mori, somewhere in this building, looking at the same 2 boxes. The form does not ask why. It does not ask if you are afraid. It does not ask if you understand fully what you are agreeing to. It asks only which box. You already know that choosing no is its own kind of answer. In this room, in this country, in this year. You know what that answer costs the men sitting beside you. You know what it costs you. You mark the box, you fold the form, you hand it forward. 3 days later, a list is posted on the administration board outside the main briefing room. Your name is on it. If you're still here, subscribe. What comes next is why this video exists. Level 6, the Toko. You are 18. They give you a new uniform first. It is cleaner than the one you arrived in, better fitted. The fabric is heavier. You are told to treat it with care. You understand, without being told the rest, that it is the last uniform you will ever be issued. Then the white silk scarf. Then the hachimaki, a headband the color of new paper, with a red, rising sun at the center. You tie it yourself, standing in front of a mirror the size of a book, in a room with 11 other men doing the same thing. Nobody speaks. The only sound is fabric moving through fingers. You have been transferred to the Special Attack Corps, Tokutai. Your unit is based at Chirin Air Base in southern Kyushu. 70 kilometers from the southernmost tip of Japan. The runway points south. Across the water, somewhere beyond what you can see from the airfield, is Okinawa. Beyond Okinawa is the American fleet. Your commanding officer here is Lieutenant Sato from Kyoto. He is 24 years old and has the posture of someone who made peace with something a long time ago. Every evening, he sits on a flat stone near the eastern fence of the base and smokes one cigarette down to the end. He never invites conversation. He never refuses it. He asks you two things on the morning you arrive. He asks your name. He asks if you are ready, not how you feel, not what you are thinking, whether you are ready. You say yes. He nods once and walks away. You learn quickly that this is his entire method of leadership. Not cruelty, not distance, just a precision about what questions matter and what questions don't. You respect it before you understand it. The base holds 43 pilots at the time of your arrival. The average age is 19. Some are younger. One boy in the eastern barracks is 17, the same age you were when you stood up in that classroom in Kagoshima. You don't say anything to him about that. You don't need to. On your third evening at Chiron, the western barracks door opens. Kenji Mori walks in. You haven't seen him since Tsuchiura. He looks the same. He is not laughing. Level 7. The last night. You are 18. The sack is served in small ceramic cups by a cadet who cannot be older than 16. He moves down the row without looking up. His hands are steady. You notice this because yours are not entirely. Nobody told you there would be sake. Nobody told you there would be a lot of things. The ceremony of it surprises you. The formality. The way Lieutenant Sato stands at the front of the room and raises his cup without a speech, without words of any kind, and you all raise yours. And the silence does more than any speech could have. You drink it in one motion. It burns cleanly. Afterward, they give you paper and a brush, a letter home to be placed in the unit register. It will be sent after. You know what after means. You write your mother's name at the top. You sit with the brush above the paper for longer than you'd like to admit. Everything you want to say is either too large to fit on paper or too small to matter. You write 3 versions. You scratch out 2. The third version is one sentence. You fold it before you can change your mind again. A young aide takes it from you without reading it. He bows. He moves to the next man. Kenji Mori sits to your left. He is writing too. His brush moves steadily, without hesitation, the same way he flies. You don't look at what he writes. That is not something you look at. You don't speak. Neither does he. But at some point in the evening, without discussion, you both move your sleeping mats slightly closer together. 2 centimeters, maybe 3. Nobody would notice. You notice. You think you will not sleep. The last thought you have before you do is of the classroom in Kagoshima. The chalk on the floor where your teacher dropped it. The truck outside the gate. You sleep. That surprises you more than anything that has happened since you signed your name. And when the light comes, it comes fast. Level 8, the morning. You are 18. The briefing begins at 0500. A map on the wall. Coordinates written in clean columns on a chalkboard. The American fleet is positioned southeast of Okinawa. Carrier groups, destroyer screens. The target is marked with a circle. It is a ship. It has a name. Your instructor reads it aloud once. You don't write it down. You don't need to. You are assigned a Mitsubishi A6M0. Tail number 312. You know this aircraft. You have flown it twice in the past week. Short circuits over the bay. Nothing that would tell you anything new. The engine pulls slightly left at higher throttle. You know this. You have already accounted for it. The payload is a 500-kilogram bomb fixed beneath the fuselage. The armorer who attached it is a man of about 50, with gray at his temples and grease on his forearms. He checks the fitting 3 times. He does not look at you while he works. When he finishes, he steps back and bows deeply, the kind of bow reserved for something that costs more than equipment. You bow back. Lieutenant Sato meets you at the edge of the runway. He is wearing his dress uniform. The cigarette is not there this morning. He extends his hand, not a bow. A handshake, Western style, firm and brief. His eyes are steady. He does not say you are ready. He does not say anything. He doesn't need to. You climb into the cockpit. The leather is cold. The instruments are familiar. The smell of oil and metal and something underneath that is just age, just time, fills the small space around you. You run your pre-flight check the way Iwata taught you, methodically, completely, as if this were any other morning. The engine catches on the first attempt. You taxi to the head of the runway. The ground crew steps back. The sky ahead is pale gray, turning pink at the horizon. Behind you, the base. The stone where Sato sits each evening. The barracks where Kenji Mori's sleeping mat is 2 centimeters closer than it was yesterday. You don't look back. That is not courage. It is the only thing left that you can control. And then the runway runs out beneath you. Level 9. The sky. You are 18. The sea below you is enormous. You knew this intellectually. You knew the Pacific was large in the way you know facts from maps. But from up here, at altitude, with nothing between you and the horizon in every direction, large is not the right word anymore. It is without end. It is indifferent. It has been here before, every war ever fought above it, and it will be here after. You level out at 3,000 meters and fly south. The engine pulls slightly left. You correct. You have always corrected. You think about the classroom in Kagoshima, the chalk on the floor, the way the morning light came through the east-facing windows at an angle that made the dust visible. You think about your father coming home from the Mitsubishi plant, smelling of metal, eating without speaking. You think about your uncle Hiroshi saying that word once, just once. You think about Kenji Mori's brush moving without hesitation across the paper last night. You think about your mother folding your clothes twice, every item, twice. The target appears on the horizon before your instruments confirm it, a shape on the water. Gray and purposeful and real. The distance closes faster than you expect. It always does, Iwata told you once. The last part is always faster than you trained for. You begin your descent. The engine is steady. The sky around you is pale blue and completely silent inside the cockpit, except for your own breathing, which is slower than you thought it would be. You are 18 years old above the Pacific Ocean. You are not afraid. That surprises you more than anything. What happened in those final seconds, and what it meant for the men who came after you. That is what the last level is about. Level 10. The Echo. You are 18. You will always be 18. The Chiren Peace Museum opened in 1975 in southern Kyushu, 70 kilometers from the tip of Japan, on the ground where the runway used to be. Inside, there are photographs, 1,036 of them. Young men in uniform, most of them looking directly at the camera with an expression that is not quite a smile and not quite its absence. Something in between, something that takes a moment to name. Your photograph is on the third wall. Your letter is in a glass case nearby. One sentence, written in a hand that was steadier than it had any right to be. The museum does not translate it on the placard. Some things are left in the language they were written in. Visitors stop in front of it anyway. They stand longer than they planned to. Your mother received a telegram, not a body, not the uniform. A telegram folded once, delivered on a Thursday. She kept it in the same drawer where she kept your school photographs. She never spoke your name in a way that invited questions. The people who loved her understood this. They let her carry it the way she chose. Kenji Mori's photograph is 4 frames to the left of yours. He is not laughing in it. But there is something around his eyes that people who knew him would recognize. Every year, in October, school children come to Chirin on field trips. They stand in front of the photographs. Their teachers tell them to look carefully. Most of them do. Some of them don't fully understand yet. They will. You were not a weapon. You were an 18-year-old who decided that something larger than himself was worth showing up for. The runway is gone. You never left it.